make me an old-fashioned.
Oh, you're making fun of Never a Doubt Week.
Sorry. Live from New York. It's day 2 of Never a Doubt Week.
Obviously.
He has a tattoo that says Never a Doubt.
Yeah.
And now the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, thus Never a Doubt Week.
Exactly.
It's first things first. Today, perfect answer. This seems like a silly question, but it's what we agreed upon in the meeting.
Yeah.
So I'll ask it verbatim.
Yeah.
Does Mahomes need 7 rings to surpass Brady? Again, this is just like your idea.
Yeah.
Because 7
As the
actually
GOAT.
would not.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
as the GOAT.
Does
But
he need...
because Brady has 7, so
right.
just mathematically.
So here's what's about to happen. Brew and I would imagine, are going to play some beautiful jazz over these next 12,
great.
15 minutes.
Absolutely.
While Wildes will do his best Will Ferrell coming in clanging on a cowbell. They're out giving the most facile analysis imaginable, but let's start here and see where it goes. So I want to start from this place. I don't love rings culture in basketball, but I get it. Even though I think it is too simplistic, because you are playing, if you're the best player, almost the whole game, because you are playing on both ends of the court, because it's 5-on-5, there's a lot of reasons why, of the major team sports, count the rings can be a dispository element for those.
Right.
I hate it, and we don't really see it in baseball.
No,
and
it wouldn't be fair in baseball.
Don't like it
I
in
do it
football.
in baseball, too.
Yeah, of course you do. And I don't like it in football, but for quarterbacks, I understand it to a degree. I think where Brew and I agree entirely is, in order to be in the conversation for the best quarterbacks ever, there are 3 boxes, and you have to check all of them. It's the jewelry box,
Okay.
the stats box,
Yep.
and the eye test box.
Yep.
And if you check all 3, you are then eligible to be in the discussion.
Got it.
If you're Dan Marino, you're just out of it. It sucks. If you are, in my opinion, Peyton is the closest to it, but the stats in the playoffs hurt him enough to where he gets knocked out of it, even though I think he was better than someone who's in it in Joe Montana. Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so my answer to this is a resounding no, he doesn't need 7. Yes, he obviously needs more than 2. And that is because in football, and I just want to show a couple numbers, then I'll hand it to you, Brew. So much of whether or not your team wins or loses takes place when you are not in the game.
True.
So if we look at most points per game ever allowed by an eventual champion, they're Mahomes' 2 rings. So nobody has ever won rings with worse defensive performances in the playoffs than both of Mahomes's. You then compare points per game allowed in the postseasons they won rings, Brady and Mahomes. So Brady's worst defense ever was under 21 points per game in the playoffs. Mahomes is 25 and 25. So the point there is that if somebody, and on some of these things you have to take it to its furthest logical conclusion, if the 2000 Ravens ripped off a dynasty doing what they did that postseason, allowing 5.7 points per game, and they won 4 consecutive Super Bowls, would anyone then be saying, well, Trent Dilfer, better than pick your quarterback X, John Elway? Of course not. So there has to be some art to the science as well. So he needs more, but he does not need 7.
Now, I agree with you. And look, whilst you know he doesn't need 7, there are already a lot of people saying he's the best we've ever seen.
Yeah.
Not many saying he's the GOAT, really hardly.
Which are
any.
2 different things.
Right. But if he wins just Sunday, which will give him 3, I will not be in this camp. I know you won't either. I think there will be a few people, though, saying he's the GOAT.
Yeah, he's the best.
They'll say he's the GOAT, not just the best we've seen. I think it'll be a handful of people that will begin to say that. I won't be in that camp. To me, Nick, he needs, if he keeps playing the way he has been, he needs like 5 for it to be a legitimate debate. But it's not rigged, because look, Nick brought it up. In basketball, ring culture is probably more legitimate.
Because you're playing both ends.
But nobody says Bill Russell has 11. Michael Jordan only has 6. Jordan's not better. Or LeBron only has 4. Russell has 11. LeBron's not better. So in football, it shouldn't just come down to 7 versus 5 or 7 versus 4 or whatever. So I think he needs to get to 5. All right. And the reason he doesn't need 7, Wildes, is because he started, like he's been the driving force behind their first 2 Super Bowls, as you just showed with the stats, right?
Yep.
Brady, and not to mention Mahomes has won 2 MVPs, been 2 first-team All-Pros, while he's winning his 2, maybe 3 Super Bowls. Brady had never made All-Pro. Brady had never won an MVP throughout his first 3 Super Bowls.
I know.
So Brady, for most of his career, was not even viewed as the best quarterback in the league. It was Peyton Manning. At points, it was Aaron Rodgers. Brady, though, actually got better statistically as his career went on. So here's the caveat, Nick, I'll throw at you. And if they win this Super Bowl Sunday, and that's 3 for Mahomes, and they do it the way they've kind of been doing it this whole year, where the defense is the driving force, Mahomes may throw 2 touchdowns, 211 yards, whatever. If he continues to win this way,
then it's different.
Right. See, he can't win 5 with his last 3 being like this.
I totally agree with that.
Right?
Gotcha. That I totally
That's why
agree.
he could be
with an asterisk.
No,
it's just how it happened. And Brady won his first 3 like this.
And his 6th.
And right.
And
but he won his 6 like that, but his play throughout the season and was different.
Go ahead.
And so that's where I think it's going to be nuanced.
I get it now. I got it. The depository thing that you were talking about, I understood that, and I understood that
say depository.
perfectly. I got
dispositive.
it. Dispositive.
Yeah, go ahead.
I understood that
depository.
perfectly.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
That's at a bank.
I got it perfectly. So I do think what you were saying about how some people will think that if he wins this weekend, that he's the greatest of all time, based on a little bit of confusion, multi-sport, like you were talking about cross-championship comparisons. Like in golf, for example, lowest score wins.
Okay.
You know what I mean? In baseball, it's like ERA. Like if your ERA is 3,
so
and
what
mine's
does he
7.
need? So what does he need?
So we actually made some graphics. Josh and I went up and grinded the all 22. So we dug into it. Here's where we are right now.
Okay.
So he's got 2. Now, if he wins this weekend, he'll actually have 3. So then we updated it. Okay, so he's got 3. So then we just went crazy. We just went to crazy town. And we're like, I don't care, man. Like, what do you want to do? Add another one? And Josh was like, no, dude, we should double it. I'm like, well, if he doubles it, he's going to have more. And it turns out we were wrong.
Yeah, well,
I was like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, Josh, run it back again. He's like, no, dude, 6 is still less than 7. Even if he got to 7, turns out he would just be tied.
So can I ask you a question?
I was just like, I was flabbergasted, and I made Josh run the numbers again. But it turns out he will not need 7
you a question? Hold on. Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does this apply only to best versus second best? Or does this apply across the board amongst greats? I said Dilfer earlier. So, like, let me ask you this. Honestly, not being a smartass.
Okay. Am I allowed to be a smartass?
No. Big Ben or Dan Marino?
I take. That's a good question.
Why? Hold on. Why? How do you not know? 2 is greater than 0. As you would love to say, if it's 7-5, there's a whole Hall of Fame career.
That's good.
Eli or Drew Brees?
Oh, not sure about that.
Yes, you are, though.
That wasn't the assignment.
No, see, so that's the thing is you are. Nobody, Big Ben's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Not better than
Nobody thinks he's better than
they're all in the very good camp. When you're up on the GOAT camp, you have to start talking about looking into it. I'll give you one.
Wait,
Stafford or Mahomes? Why is Mahomes better than Stafford? They both have good stats.
No,
they both have rings.
No.
Stop.
Mahomes is
one
way
guy.
better.
Why? Tell me why.
Okay, I'll
He's
tell you.
won consistently throughout his career.
No,
any argument that you make that Mahomes is better than Stafford is the same argument you can make that Brady is better than Mahomes.
Stafford's made 1 Pro Bowl.
And Mahomes has made 6. Mahomes has 2 MVPs.
So he's got 5 more. How many more?
2 MVP votes. No, that's not the argument you wanted to make. You spent too much time making your graphics and not enough time thinking about
you want to get into the empirical world on why Mahomes is better than Brady. You have to live in the empirical world.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Don't go eye testing me left and right.
I think this too.
I'm not eye testing you left
I think Wildes. how fast Mahomes, and if he gets to 5, if he gets to 5 in 10 years,
and then retires,
I think, or even like at that point, if he's in his 10th year and he's now got 5 Super Bowls, I think he will be widely viewed as the GOAT.
So I bought that
widely.
That pace argument was a
we'll
nice
get to the
middle
pace
ground.
thing in a moment, but there's one other thing I want to show you guys as far as empirical stuff, which is obviously Mahomes has not played nearly as long as Brady, but how many awesome playoff games do they both have? So playoff games with a passer rating of 110 or higher and their team record, because you're a quarterback wins guy. I think this will surprise you. So Mahomes is one away from Brady's whole career of awesome playoff games. That should be shocking. Then there's the flip side,
Can I just stop there for a second or no?
Yeah, go ahead. Sure.
And then I haven't dug through all 10 games. But we just saw Mahomes play a game that he leaned on this great defense. It's like, you know what? I don't need to take chances. I can sort of lay back in the cut, get my 14-point lead, and put it on cruise control.
Yes.
Don't you think that
passer rating is not hurt by that?
That was very Brady-esque.
Yes, and they had a great passer rating. Passer rating is not hurt by that. That's why I didn't do total yards or touchdowns. Passer rating rewards you for efficiency.
Right.
So then the flip side to that is, what about games in which you struggled in the playoffs? How did your team do? So passer rating below 80. Mahomes has 2, and one of them is his first ever Super Bowl. And that's the win, by the way, I'm talking about.
Take the dub.
Brady's 11-8 in those spots, which gives you, so he has 19 playoff games where he struggled, and he won more than half of them. Now, some of those were, great comebacks or rallying, and some of them were he downright played poorly and had a Bill Belichick defense. The pace thing is what I think is why some Brady folks and why all of New England is Niner fans this weekend, even though I don't think typically folks from the greater New England area love San Francisco. We can show you the current pace for Patrick Mahomes, Brew. The first one is, if he loses, he's ahead of pace.
I don't mind this pace graphic.
If he wins, we can show it to you. He is blowing the pace out of the water. Yep. And so that is, and for both of them, we didn't include their rookie year because they didn't start. And if you want to knock off one extra year from Brady because he missed his season with injury, you can, but that could happen to Mahomes as well. So that's where, Brew, I think this could become a moot point. Like, oh, what if he only gets 5? But it also, right now, it could not have started more positively in any realistic way.
Absolutely.
Sure.
What?
I said sure.
You're not convinced?
I bought that. No, not at all. And I actually think it's a little bit insulting to Mahomes if we want, like Mahomes is talking about, fast forwarding, 15 years. If Mahomes is sitting at 5 rings in 15 years, and let's
that
say
would be 21.
Arch Manning comes up and has 2 Super Bowls, but he's like hot out of the gate right away, and there's younger versions of us being like, Arch Manning, right up there with Mahomes. I think we would freak out, and you guys would be making the same arguments that I am.
No, but we don't even have to do the Arch Manning thing. And then we can move on. Let's just take it again to its furthest possible conclusion. If Caleb Williams comes into the league and his first 2 years in the league wins both Super Bowls, would it be fair to then be having the discussion, is Caleb Williams on pace to be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen? Absolutely. And if the question then is, if Caleb's like, hey guys, by the way, my plan's only to play 8 years. And if he wins 5 Super Bowls in 8 years and people want to say, I think that's the best quarterback I've ever seen, that would be fair.
Yep. We'll meet in the middle. If Caleb Williams wins 5 Super Bowls in the next 8 years,
you know what? There you go.
I will give him a go. Congratulations, Chicago. Are you surprised the Chiefs were getting booed? Go, bro.
I got to be honest, and I know yesterday we had the discussion about Mahomes being the villain and why or a lot of people are against the Chiefs. I am surprised. I mean, those were loud boos.
Loud.
Like, the Chiefs have done nothing to be disliked. The commercials are great. Mahomes is great. Like, I don't mean it's play, but personality-wise, Andy Reid, likable. Kelce and Taylor Swift, even though some people might like that,
everybody
but still.
likes them.
Right. Like, the Patriots did things where outside of football, you understand why people didn't like them. Belichick's personality, cheating scandals, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't get this at all. Now, I get the jealousy of we want somebody else to win, or how are we going to beat this team? Here they are in a bad season, and they're going to win the Super Bowl, or at least they're in the Super Bowl. I get that, but those boos were raucous.
Yeah,
so I am surprised at the gravity of that.
I'm not surprised at all, and those people are not the people going to the Super Bowl. So listen, that nobody gets to the Super Bowl a week early, and if you do, and it's the Vegas Super Bowl, you're going to be selling your Super Bowl tickets by Friday to pay for the gambling losses. So those people were locals.
Yeah,
so who are locals? Oh, wait. People that have very good reason to hate the Chiefs. They're Raider fans, guys. Can we remind you what Patrick Mahomes has done against the Raiders, if you will? He's 30 touchdowns in 12 games. He has tortured them more than he's tortured any other team. While the Niners are out here complaining about their practice field, they should be complaining about the fact that this stadium is held in Arrowhead West, otherwise known as Allegiant Field. Can we show you at the Raiders Stadium? Mahomes has second most wins of any quarterback ever. Only Derek Carr has more. What about quarterback-coach combo success at Allegiant Stadium? They got the most.
Pretty good.
So it's the Raider
it's
fans
a young stadium.
who has it's 4 years. It's 4 years. And a team that plays there once a year has the most wins of any coach-quarterback combo. So it's angry Raider fans, guys. Like that's what it was. It was locals or people visiting from out of town who might not be going to the game, but know that they are rooting against the Chiefs.
It sounds silly, but I do think it's going to fire up the Chiefs.
Of course it is.
Kelce got real energy.
Yeah, he was ready.
Speaking of firing up the Chiefs, let's go to this.
Okay, finally. Some bulletin board material. Here was Nick's prediction yesterday on who would deliver bulletin board material. My money would be on former Chief Charvarius Ward. Let's take a listen to how this take panned out. Classic one.
Classic category one.
You did
102 players and coaches at Media Day.
Nailed it.
And I nailed it. Dusty the board. Charvarius Ward. I mean, he's had 2 all-time quotes this week because he also is the person who said the Super Bowl's in Vegas, so we'll probably turn up Monday and Tuesday, but then get down to business by Wednesday. So Charvarius Ward has to go on the board. And people might say it's Media Day. What do you want him to do? Patrick Mahomes invented something yesterday, Brew. The reverse bulletin board, which is, I'll put this up while we play you the video. Patrick Mahomes was asked about drafting an all-time fantasy team, all players in league history, no Chiefs allowed. And his wide receiver 3 choice was interesting. Let's go ahead and play that if you could. So Jamar Chase, who is the one who has trolled the Chiefs more than anything, Mahomes putting him on it. That's what Charvarius Ward should have done. All Charvarius Ward said, 2 amazing organizations, obviously won a championship with Kansas City. You know, I'm grateful for my time there, but he couldn't help himself. So better over here, Charvarius Ward, 3rd Niner on the board. Good job.
There's definitely no rule. Like Andy Reid has the rule, no bulletin board material.
My God. Complaining about the grass. Also, shout out to the reporter.
Oh, that kid did great.
Yeah, he crushed it.
That kid also did really well in the draft. He got Jerry Rice and Calvin Johnson on his team. He did great.
Good job. Is Purdy the next Drew Brees? That's next on FS1.
We've heard
and the Fox Sports Channel on Sirius XM. Give it a shot if you're in your car.
Look at our bosses here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.